Ladies and gentlemen, we've just gotten ourselves some breaking news in the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. And like I always say, who but the SEC would surprise us with this on a nice little Friday afternoon, night, depending on where you are, to go ahead and ruin your weekend. Not gonna lie, I was not prepared for another update. I was ready to get to partying a little bit, but I'm back here in the office to give you guys this update because I'm a man of my word. I told you guys every single time we've got a breaking news update, I'm gonna try be the first one to report it for you. So right now, I rushed back home, a couple drinks deep, so please take a look at this update. It's only been 7 minutes, I'm a frick. Anyway, the SEC has filed its reply memorandum in further support of its motion to certify intellectual appeal. And I actually think it's very interesting the way that this is going. For all of you that do not remember, the SEC is basically trying to get their way into our brains because what they're trying to achieve here is to try to get the judge to come back on her ruling on specific parts that she ruled in favor of Ripple for, and that is mostly with regards to their sales over exchanges and the XRP that they gave to developers and whatnot. And now keeping that in mind, the judge really mostly has been on Ripple's side because she also knows, okay, the SEC should have a right to get the judge to look at it again. But is it necessary for it to happen right now? That's the question at hand. Well, the SEC put up an argument saying yes. Ripple said you didn't actually put up any good argument. And now the SEC responded again saying no, it needs to happen right now, this moment, not after it, not after you've gone to trial for Chris Larsen and Brad Garlinghouse. No, not after the Coinbase ruling comes out and all this other stuff comes out. After all these people get deposed, we want to do it now. We want to put the entire lawsuit on pause to get this ruled over with. And Ripple had some good argumentation as to why it's actually objectively worse for everybody to pause this lawsuit right now to go over issues yet again. But let's quickly take a look at what the SEC just wrote. I've been having a lot of fun specifically with these footnotes. One of them is this one right here. I think you guys will find this interesting. In a footnote, footnote 5 or 6 from Ripple's response, defendants, which are the guys at Ripple, suggest that the Terraform case, where a judge did not agree with the Ripple judge's opinion, that Terraform passed on a status under Howey of secondary market resales of a crypto asset, whereas this court's order did not. But even a cursory review of Terraform shows that this characterization is incorrect. The SEC claims in the Terraform case they were against the issuer of the crypto assets, including Section 5 claims, based in part on the unregistered offer and sale of the crypto asset on secondary market platforms. Identical to the claims at issue in this post here. As in this case, subsequent sales by purchasers were not at issue, and the Terraform court had no occasion to and did not pass on that question either. And actually reading the majority of this, as I'm not fully finished yet, as it's a lot of pages and I've not had much time, but I'm reading as I record here, while defendants cite a specific case here for the notion that judicial economy is not served when the appellate issue is not dispositive, they miss that court's quotation of Sutherland immediately following, cautioning against investment of court resources in proceedings that may prove to be unnecessary, and the Strugo court's text about the need for a dispositive issue is best viewed in the context in which it arises, an appeal of a class certification decision where the entire litigation still lies ahead. And so again, the SEC guys are basically saying that Ripple and the guys are wrong. Ripple pressed the erroneous contention that the intellectual appeal must obviate the need for a trial, and erroneously linked that to a consideration of the likelihood of success on the merits of the proposed intellectual appeal. But Section 1292B does not require an intellectual appeal successful to obviate a trial. As to likelihood of success on the merits of the appeal, the SEC believes it has shown in this briefing, in the briefing of the intellectual appeal factors, but it recognizes that it will be a rare circumstance when a district judge, having scored the record and conducted extensive research in preparation for writing a lengthy decision, agrees that an appellate has made a strong showing that it is likely to succeed on the merits of an appeal from that decision. They again claim that in different cases pretty akin to this, the courts have actually sided with the SEC's side. Maybe not specifically the SEC, but again, cases akin to what we've got here. This stay, or basically putting the entire lawsuit on halt, has actually been granted before. And lastly, the defendants, Ripple guys, have stated that they will petition the Court of Appeals to review the court's ruling on institutional sales if the SEC's motion to certify this intellectual appeal is granted. That would mean virtually the entire order would be on appeal. it would make little sense to proceed forward with the remedies phase or trial, which are, again, further parts in the SEC versus Brad and Chris Larson case, if, as defendants hope, the Court of Appeals ruled that institutional sales did not involve investment contracts. Interesting. So if you're wondering what exactly happened right here, did the SEC make good arguments? Well, it's mostly the SEC trying to discredit whatever Ripple said in their initial response to the SEC's claims, because Ripple, of course, is just saying, hey, SEC, you're not meeting the crazy circumstances which are necessary to actually file an appeal before the normal appeal time. You know, an intellectual appeal is a very special thing because it basically should require the need for it to happen in the midst of the ongoing lawsuit still. So again, the judge has to now review decisions while the lawsuit is still ongoing. So the judge made a decision and you just want to move on and get everything over with. But in the meantime, after you made a decision, let's stop everything and think about this. That's basically what the SEC wants. The bar is very high. Ripple said you don't meet that bar. The SEC saying, no, Ripple, you're dumb. And we actually do meet that bar by a lot. But they actually don't try to say that too much. They mostly just try to say, hey, Ripple, you are wrong on all these parts, instead of mostly going on with their own side to explain why they are right, which is a very common tactic in war. Again, they're trying to discredit everything the opposite side says. The SEC's proposed course of action, which means to stop the lawsuit as it's currently going and to go back on some decisions. Ripple said that would actually hurt the entirety of the lawsuit. It would make things slower and more annoying. Because of many reasons. The SEC, however, says it would actually advance the termination of this case. It would speed things up. It would likely result in one appeal on the merits of the case now, one remedies phase as to all of the parties' respective liabilities, and only one trial for the individuals, and one potential appeal as to remedies. By contrast, defendants' preferred course requires initial remedies litigation now, one trial against the individuals, and an appeal as to both the merits and the remedies proceedings. And they're basically saying that if the SEC goes to appeal and Ripple does respond like they said, that it would basically be done twice. And that things could eventually change, as again, if the SEC now gets granted what they want and they were to actually win it, there would only still have to be one sort of trial and phase afterwards. But if they were to go on like this, then go on with the proceedings the way they planned, and then the SEC were to win on whatever they want to, there would potentially or also be a potential second aiding and abetting trial, and then still a potential second appeal as to the remedies phase for all those additional sales. So the SEC seems to put up a nice little juicy argument as they say, hey, we would actually conclude things a lot quicker. This is again only if they were to win both parts though. And that's kind of like, in my opinion, poking the judge a little bit by saying, hey, we already expect you to be wrong. So with our way and planning of things, knowing we're going to win it, this would be quicker. Even though in general, if they were to lose, it would definitely hurt the lawsuit over the long run. They try to argument here why their stay, so to pause the lawsuit, is actually a good thing. And over on Twitter, James had this to say. He just posted this a couple minutes ago. The SEC's argument that the judge should stay the proceedings, so put everything on pause, because the SEC is all of a sudden concerned about conserving judicial resources is laughable. And it's again the section that we're looking at right here. The courts and the public both have an interest in promoting judicial economy and in not having government agencies unnecessarily spend resources, which weighs heavily in favor of a stay here. Without the stay, the court, the SEC, and the public interest are harmed by the expenditure of time, focus, and resources on litigation phases that may have to be redone or revised. That is ridiculously funny. Defendants would suffer a similar drain. Absent a stay, so if we don't actually keep the lawsuit at a pause right now and revise this, the court and the parties will have to proceed through potentially duplicative and unnecessary litigation. Again, our conclusion is the SEC is desperately trying to appeal the Ripple case just to lose again. They're trying to ruin your Friday afternoon. They're trying to ruin your day. They're trying to ruin the XRP price. It's as simple as it goes. I don't think they've got any shot of overturning the judge's opinion. That doesn't mean they won't actually get granted the appeal. There's still a small chance of that. But they won't actually win because it wouldn't make sense. But even if they do, it wouldn't change the status of XRP at all. So I don't know exactly why they're trying or why they're going for it, unless they just want to spend even more tax dollars. That's the only thing I can kind of think of here. And because they've got some ego to feed that they just want to fight for the sake of fighting. At least that would make sense to me. Now, as of this point, no lawyers have gotten their opinions out just quite yet, so I can't give you guys a full rundown. As I said, I'm trying to get this video to you guys within like a couple of minutes of this being posted. And honestly, there's actually a lot going on in the crypto space right now with regards to the CFTC, the SEC, and just crypto regulations and rules. Ripple's also doing quite a lot right now as we speak. Got a couple of juicy updates on that a little bit later. But I'd say over the next couple of hours, just focus yourself over on Twitter, as many other lawyers will be giving their opinions out, and hopefully that can aid you in making the proper investment decisions, you know? But I'm holding till the bitter end. I'm still extremely bullish, and I don't care about the stupid SEC. I don't want them ruining my day. I'm not letting them, and I hope you have a good one. Make sure you put that notification bell for further updates, because, you know, I like to take my time with some things, but some things like this, I'm very freaking quick, so yeah.